Hello, friends. Hello, MK. We have Mary Katherine Backstrom joining us today, and she's going to look off screen because she wants to share with her people. Also, yeah, exactly. She's going to share at the same time because this is obviously live for you all. But I just want to tell you a bit about Mary Katherine Backstrom first. She is a viral blogger and author of Mom Babble, and we have a secret surprise coming up for you a little bit later about another possible book. I don't want to give it all away, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. And she's also a speaker. But MK, what I know about you is you are hysterically funny, and you have this unparalleled heart for people who are in the trenches of this messy, beautiful life, right?
Yes, that is. I think you pretty much. I need you to write that down and send it to me so it can be my new elevator pitch, because I think you just nailed it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, boom, done. We got it. We already have a comment. Oh, Gloria Dami said hello.
Hey, Gloria, how are you?
And that's
oh, wow, Gloria, that's so fancy. Look at your, I love this format. This is so neat.
I know, isn't that cool? So now I'm going to, like, Gloria's gone now, but if anyone else wants to say hi or ask questions for MK, like, this is why we're here. We want to have a great conversation and include all of you in your homes or, you know, playing hooky on your work or whatever that is. All right. So Mary Katherine, I need to just know first how you went from probably living what seemed to be a pretty ordinary life to like, boom, like,
yeah,
500,000 people plus knowing your name. Like, walk us through that.
It's funny. So I feel like I started writing actually in 2013 when my son was born. I was struggling with postpartum depression, and so I was just kind of longing for a way to connect with others. And what I found was I went on my personal page and wrote just some parenting SOS. I'm up in the middle of the night. Does this get better? And immediately I started getting all of these responses from people who were like, oh, people that like I wasn't even friends with in high school, but they're there, you know? And the support that I got was just incredible. And so I thought, what a beautiful community this is. I wonder if I can create something similar. And so it started like that. And slowly over the course of about 3 to 4 years, I built up about a 200 to 300,000 person following. That was like a slow roll. And then the Ellen thing happened. And, you know.
Yeah. So pause right there, because what?
I know. That was so wild. I still can't believe that it's coming up on a year, and it feels like it was such an overwhelmingly magical experience. It's kind of like a wedding day, honestly. You're trying as hard as you can to soak in every moment, but it's not possible.
Right.
So I'm glad that Ellen had good videographers, because I didn't at my wedding. And so I can actually go back and watch this and remember it. You
know? Yeah, please, somebody tell me what happened during my wedding, right?
Because I don't remember.
How did she find you? How did that happen? Walk us through that beginning part.
Well, as you know, the video that we're talking about is the Christmas spirit video where I hugged a stranger at Wawa and then immediately felt like it was the right thing to do to go live and tell people about it. Why not? I'm a blogger. We overshare things, right?
Yes.
And so within like a couple of minutes, it went, you know, usually I have 10 to 40,000 views, you know, it goes over to 100 or 200. Like by the time I got home, it had like 300,000 views. I was like, boy, I was like 10 minutes ago. Something's wrong with Facebook's algorithm.
Blame it on Facebook.
Yeah, something's wrong. And then I start getting all these calls from out of state from my cousins who are like, my friend just shared this video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going like a different kind of viral. Next thing I know, all of my followers and their friends are tagging Ellen's page.
Oh.
And I assume 1,000 bajillion tags later, they finally clued in that the video existed. And I got an email and I thought it was spam because, of course, I mean, you don't expect to get an email from Ellen's people.
Right.
So I called the number back and was like, hi, this is Mary Katherine Backstrom. If you are going to pretend to be my uncle in Kenya and try and give me money, then I'm not going to do that. So I'm not stupid. But if you're real, call me back.
Did you honestly say that?
All of that, yes.
Oh my gosh, they must have just eaten that up. That is fantastic. Oh, so then they called back.
They called back, and when the phone rang, it said, God, what is it? What studios is it? I can't even remember, but it was the name of the studio on my ring.
Brothers?
I think it is, yes. And so it said it was calling from California. It said Warner Brothers, and I was like, I don't think they can do that from Kenya. You know, I was actually like, oh my gosh, I don't think these people are going to try and, this is so crazy. And so it was a process. You know, you talk to them, you kind of share your story. You're not really sure if you're going to be on the show or not. It's very much like a feeling you out situation. Meanwhile, Good Morning America had reached out to me and wanted me to commit immediately. And so I had the choice. I had to either commit to Good Morning America and cancel all conversations with Ellen, or put all my eggs in that basket, which I did.
Whoa.
It's Ellen.
Yeah, but I love that you're saying to Good Morning America. Well, you know, so I've got this thing with Ellen. And
I know. Oh, can I tell you? Oh, I don't know if I can. It's a kindness podcast.
I'm like, who cares about kindness?
No, it was really funny because they were just like, you know, we better not find you on some like hokey talk show. When I told them I couldn't come, I didn't tell them it was Ellen because I had been told by their people not to tell them. It's this whole thing where everybody's being shady, you know? Yeah. And, but they were like, okay, but I won't say which talk show, but if we see you on this talk show, we're going to be mad. And it wasn't that one. I was like, you won't be mad.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. Trust me.
It's going to be fine.
So did you become friends with, Hoda and Jenna too from the Today Show?
Gosh, I wish.
Like they love your book.
Oh, so they caught on. I was a couple of years ago. The Today Show hosted the Iris Award for the best parenting blogger, and it was like a community choice thing. And so they went through all of their contributors and people who had been viral on their page, and I had contributed several times to Today Show as a writer. And so they nominated me, and then the community chose me, and then I got all of this amazing feedback. And I mean, like, I'm going to copy and paste that line and put it on every book I ever write.
Yes.
They think I'm funny. It's going on every book ever.
It better. No kidding. Oh, so, you know, my two favorite posts that you've ever had. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm kind of, where are we going here? Curious.
The first one says, I don't know who needs to hear this, which is always a really special thing to me because I am usually the one who needs to hear it. By the way, we just need a shout out to Steve Ritchie.
Hey,
Steve. So, and who is this?
Oh, look at and see and
P.H. Riez Ahmad Hanjra. I just feel proud of dear NJP. Oh, thank you.
That is so awesome.
That was sweet. Okay. So the two favorite ones, you say, I don't know who needs to hear this because that is always precious to me because I'm usually the one who needs to hear it. And it said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't need anything from Amazon today.
Yep.
Like, I was like, oh, she's speaking to me. How does she know? How does she know that I feel the need for retail therapy?
That was the Lord's conviction just flowing through.
Straight to me. Straight, I received. Yeah. So that's one of my favorites. My second favorite, maybe something that you posted a long time ago, but I saw it 2 days ago. And it was a post from you about having it all. And doggone it, like before this interview started, I got a little weepy with you. I'm feeling it again. So I don't know, MK, what you got going with me, but
which post do you know? Is it oh gosh. Oh, was it about the depression? About how you can have literally everything. You know, I was inspired by a meme I saw to write that. And a lot of the times I'm writing those posts from my pillow on my phone, right? My kids are asleep. My brain is spinning and I have things I want to connect with other people over. And so I start I'm laying under the covers, trying not to wake a kid up, you know, just total mom life. And also you're going to appreciate this being who I am. I shared the wrong podcast onto my page. So I'm going to reshare that. Hot mess. Oh my goodness.
You know what? It's kindness for someone else. Like share the love of a different podcast with someone.
Well, it was actually yours with the Holderness family, and I'm a huge fan of them. Huge. So how fun was that?
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah.
All right. So I've just reshared. Maybe some of my people will find us. Now, what I was going to tell you was that meme, the meme. I saw a meme and it was two girls sitting next to each other. And one is like, so you have this awesome life. And she's like, mm-hmm. She's like, well, you've got everything going for you. Mm-hmm. She's like, so why are you depressed? And she's like, depression. I think it's the funniest thing because, it is an equal opportunity. It's an equal opportunity disease. It doesn't matter if you have everything you've ever wanted or if you're in the trenches of life. Depression finds you where you are, and it feels so heavy. And so I just wanted people to understand that was okay to acknowledge. It doesn't make you an ungrateful person, I think, is where, especially people who have like privilege of various degrees, it be financial or, they just look at their lives and think, boy, I should not be feeling this way. I think those people are the ones who struggle the most with admitting that they're depressed and getting the help that they need, maybe because they feel convicted that they are. Like there's something wrong with their gratitude is broken, right? It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
If anything, I think that people who struggle with depression feel terrible because they are so grateful. And then it's like, I feel even worse because I'm already sad. And now I feel like I should, I'm sad about being sad. So.
Absolutely. And so how does Ian, your husband, handle that with you?
We have a really honest relationship about mental illness. I mean, so my husband, he's a high stress person, which I think has put him in he functions differently with stress and anxiety. His makes him like type A. He's, we went to undergrad together. I saw him studying for medical school, getting into medical school, going through residency. He was always a very high achiever. So his stress points and like when he feels broken, completely different than mine. And so we had to learn one another's kind of like, what does mental health look like for you? And what does it look like for me? Mm-hmm. And what are the flags for you? And what are the flags for me? Luckily, though, I married somebody who understands that mental illness is real. And we honor that when we see it in one another. We don't, there's just not any shame there. So I'm really lucky. He supports me when I'm struggling. And, good Lord, I go to therapy every week. I think he likes that because I'm less crazy.
Yeah, I go to right. You get an hour just to funnel things out and work through them in your mind. And yeah. I do feel like my poor husband, he can see it coming in me. Like he can see it in my eyes. Like I don't know what it is, but we've been married for 20 years and he can see it coming and he's like, oh boy, like I'm holding on. And he'll say like, what can I do to make you happy? And he wants to fix it. And I'm like, honey, you have to let me be in this moment. Like I am working through this. I am trying really hard to use all of the tools in my tool basket to work through this, but you cannot fix this. Like you don't need to go make more money. You don't need to,
Exactly. Or, my thing was for the longest time, well, I just need a babysitter. I need somebody to take this off my plate. And so then it was like, am I ever going to spend time with, I feel like certain things are the trigger. I mean, no, it's like life is the trigger, things just happen. Depression exists. The funny thing with us, and I think that you pointed out something really smart is like, when you know that you love somebody well, when you can see it coming. And that's important in any kind of like friendship or relationship is to be able to know one another well enough that you see like, let me help you prevent this meltdown, right? Well, I have bipolar 2, which is kind of like bipolar. If bipolar is a huge roller coaster, then bipolar 2 is like just a smaller, it's like the kiddie version of the roller coaster. But I still have these manic episodes. And I like those because I'm very like high energy and I can conquer the world. And I'm always sending my agent like 8,000 book ideas. This is the one. It's going to blow everybody's mind. He's like, okay.
And you laugh hysterically in your video. When you start laughing, it's like, oh, the whole world laughs with you.
Right. Well, what's really funny is I've been noticing lately that I draw a lot of my audience in when I'm manic. It's not normal to sit down and laugh that hard that you're crying into a phone. And it's funny and it's relatable because let's be honest, we all have varying degrees of like not being normal. But what's really funny is what people don't realize is they come to my page and then a couple days later, I'm sharing about depression and how like hard life is. And they think they're like, well, you're the girl that made me laugh. I'm like, hello, it's two sides of the same coin.
Same thing, people. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, if you're gonna get this, you're probably gonna get this.
If you're right here with me, chances are in about 4 days you're gonna get that depression post. It's very easy to see now. Even my readers know. They're like, "Oh, you know, we saw you having a really good day the other day. We knew
I heard you mention therapy.
Yes.
And for my tools, I really have gotten into this whole love of kindness, because kindness is one of the tools that I use on those days. When the dark cloud starts coming in, I try as quickly as I can to get my eyes off of myself and put them onto the needs of other people, and just try to remove myself from my own brain a little bit. What sort of tools do you have to help you?
Well, actually, as it pertains to kindness, in a little bit different way. One of the most like aha moments I had in therapy was I was sitting down with my therapist, and he asked me, because I was just having a hard time. I am generally very sad right now, and I just don't know what's causing it. I don't know how to get through it. And he said, okay, well, start me at the beginning of your day, like the inner dialogue at the beginning of your day. Take me for the first 2 hours. And so, okay. So I'm like in my head, I'm pretty good about this. I feel, well, this is a fun exercise. So I wake up and I get out of bed and I go to brush my teeth, and I'm like, Mary Katherine, your teeth are so yellow. You drink so much coffee. You need to do something and whiten your teeth. Then I'm going to take a shower, and I'm looking at my body like, oh, cool. Cancer did a good job with your boobs. You need to lose 50 pounds. Like by the time I get out of the shower, I've already spent 15 minutes being hateful to myself. And it only continues as I wake my children up, lose my patience with them, pack a crappy lunch in their lunchbox. By the time my kids are out the door, we're talking an hour and a half. I have had an hour and a half of solid mean dialogue to myself. And then I wonder why I have a hard time the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. And so he told me, he's like, you are so kind to other people. Why do you have such a hard time being kind to yourself? And that just hit me. You know, it just slammed into me. I was like, you know, it's a heartbreaking thing to realize that sometimes your worst enemy really is you. You can be the most critical to yourself, the most demeaning. When I walk out, and I have this in my mind, I know, because I go to therapy every Tuesday. Like, I feel like I'm an honorary therapist at this point. The worst kind, because I think that I'm one. I'm really not, you know. But it's like I go out into the world, and I know that in my little outfit with my hair done, people see me and they're like, oh, that's a nice looking lady. But what do I see? Something complete. I know every little flaw. I know where my tummy shows when I sit down. And we always see ourselves in such a nastier light than anybody else would ever. And so I think that like kindness has been a really important thing for me, not just to share with others, but I have to show kindness to myself. And that's been the biggest tool for me lately, is whenever I get really, really down, I realize that internal dialogue has turned on me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that one's free. That probably cost me $100 to learn.
Yeah, at least. And so thank you for the free advice. Yeah, I talk to people people from my tribe will say, oh, that sounds familiar, because I'm constantly saying, think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you're thinking about, so you can reject those negative thoughts and replace them. It's just this constant.
Having children has been a really good mirror for me, because, well, I wouldn't say it's more as like a litmus test. You know, if I hear myself saying things, or even saying them out loud to myself, I'll even question, like, how would I feel if I saw my daughter saying this to herself and seeing herself this way?
Yeah.
Or my son. And if you wouldn't let your children like speak that way to themselves, why would you do that to you? Right. You know?
You know, it's funny, because before we got on this interview, hi, Katherine. Katherine Dunlap's saying hi to us.
Hi, Katherine.
I was thinking, like, I'm reading the book and I'm looking at all your stuff once again, and I'm like, I'm not worthy. Like, why would she take the time to talk to me? Like, oh gosh, I shouldn't bother her. And it's just like this crazy thought.
Negative. Yeah. It does kind of feel like women are worse at that, though. I don't know why. I mean, I think we all struggle with it, but I feel like in general, women seem to be more critical of, or doubting ourselves, especially professionally. Like, why would I reach out to that person? Why wouldn't you reach out to that person? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah. Or the whole like, oh, you don't have to pay me for that. I don't need to get paid.
Good Lord, I'm the worst. I'm honestly bad about that. And I was just telling my friend, I'm going to name drop Amy Weatherly, because you need to talk to her. She's amazing. Talk about somebody whose like mission is kindness. She has an amazing page, which is by her name, Amy Weatherly. But then she also has a page called Sister, I'm With You, which she shares with somebody. But she's such a sweet girl. And I'll ask her, hey, what are you doing today? I'm going to go speak at a church. I was like, oh, good. How much did they pay you? Well, they offered to pay me, but I just didn't want to ask. And I'm like, girl, she's been stressed all day planning that speech, practicing. She's got to get a babysitter to take care of her kids. I'm like, at least cover your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
but we tend to kind of devalue our own in so many ways.
So tell me, you mentioned breast cancer. I was diagnosed in 2015 when I was 40. And that was the first time in my life as a 40-year-old, I felt really young, because that's young for a survivor. Yeah. But you were even younger.
I was. This is really funny, because being in the sorority that nobody wants to be a part of, right? I instantly found there was this like kinship with other survivors. And I came to the table saying, well, I'm kind of like JV breast cancer survivor, because really when they found like traces of cancer in my body, my life was not at risk. It was more a miraculous finding that prevented my life from being at risk. And so then I started putting myself in this place where, what do I get to claim this or not? It's just that whole thing. And the people who didn't feel that way were breast cancer survivors. They're like, girl, are you kidding me? Like, you've been through it. You've had to go through the emotional roller coaster. I have friends who are stage 4. They never once made me feel like this is not something I can talk about. But of course, in my head, I was like, no, I had a breast reduction, which is something I always like. I wrote about, actually, we'll talk about this in a minute, but I did write about that in my next project, where I was a blessed girl from 6th grade on. I had the genetics that made cartwheels impossible. You know what I'm talking about? And so from basically 8th grade moving forward, I just wanted a reduction, and I looked forward to it. I dreamed about it. This is gonna be the greatest day ever. And so I weaned 2 children. And then I scheduled the appointment. I went and had the surgery. I woke up and was like, I can see my belly button. This is the greatest thing ever. I was so happy with the results of that surgery. 4 days later, I go to the surgeon's office just for my follow-up appointment. And I walk in and they're like, where's your husband? Is nobody with you? And at that point, I knew something was wrong, because they never asked me that,
No.
And so they walked in and basically had sent my tissue off in an abundance of caution and diligence to just all of their patients. They send tissues off for screening for any kind of disease. And they found, DCIS. And because they weren't able to determine whether it was in one particular spot based on the slides, it was kind of sporadic. They recommended a mastectomy. I did get a bunch of and I got all kinds of recommendations. I mean, I shopped the heck out of that decision until I realized that the decision itself was causing me more sickness. I mean, my mental illness was just Yep. So I ultimately decided a mastectomy was the right choice for me, because I could not follow through with the annual screening and the what ifs. But yeah, and I guess that makes me a survivor now, which is a weird thing to say.
And it does. And I call myself, I never called myself this, but I relate when you say the JV version,
right.
I had a mastectomy, but I never had chemo. I never had radiation.
Right.
So I'm like, well, it wasn't that bad, really.
Right.
But when you're sitting in that moment of I got to pick a new wife for my husband, because the baby's need a new mom.
Yes. And I actually sent him an email one night. I had a glass of wine, and I was like, I'm going to let him know who he can and cannot marry. So he got this weird email. He's like, what in the heck is this for?
That was probably better to put in an email. I said mine out loud, and I actually told the woman as well.
Oh, good.
And she was like, yeah, no.
I don't really want to entertain this concept with you.
Yeah, this makes me really uncomfortable. And then I told my husband, he's like, that makes me really uncomfortable. So.
Oh, that is so funny. Hey, Sarah. Hello. I love your format. This is so cool.
Yeah. It's just every once in a while, I like to just say, hey, people, I know you're there. We can see you. It's just really fun. Okay. So I told you I would keep you for 20 minutes. It's now been 24 minutes. So
I'm fine. I'm fine for at least a few more. I'm good. Okay, I thought I had no idea. No plan.
You had no idea. Yeah, I reserved you for 4 hours this afternoon. So keep that coffee and Coke.
I'll text the babysitter.
I know, right?
I'm working.
Yeah, I'll Venmo her some extra payment. It's all good. Okay, so let's hear about this new
Okay.
project?
Okay. So this is really fun because I haven't actually gotten to say this to anybody yet, but I just finished the manuscript of a book that is releasing next year. And I am allowed to tell you all the title. How cool is that? So I don't know if you can see this or not, but yeah, this is officially my next book. It's called Holy Hot Mess, and it's coming through Hachette, which is like the greatest. I'm so excited to be working with Hachette, Nashville. And I feel Mom Babble is a book that I will forever be proud of. It's the first thing I ever put out there. It was a collection of essays. This is a little more expanded upon. And so it was a lot harder to write, I feel like. And also #pandemic life. You know, if you're an author, Lord, writing this time of year has not been easy. So I finished it a couple of days ago and I was like, oh my gosh, this is, I've done it. Hey, Deborah. And so I'm super excited to write about it. Holy Hot Mess is basically finding God in the details of just this beautiful, messy life that we have.
Okay.
And so it's short. That's it.
And you just stop right there, because everyone who is watching, we just have to do a whole big kindness collective applause. So put your applause in the comments.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Show her the love. We need her to know, yes.
Thank you.
A really brave, smart woman is writing a book. Yes. So Karen says, love you, Mary Katherine. So nice to catch you live.
It's so good to see you too, Karen. And Sarah, thank you. I know I'm so excited too. I just cannot wait. So.
Oh, and there's more coming. People are loving on you. So Karen says, can't wait for the new book.
Thank you.
And Sarah's sending her applause and her love.
I feel so loved. Thank you, Janelle.
Yeah. So, okay, now you can continue. Now that I give people a spot where they need to just say, yay, we love you. This is great.
This has been the wildest thing. I'm telling you, it's been such a journey.
What's
that?
Do we know when?
Oh, it looks like it's going to be, I think, August of 2021. So that's officially less than a year, right? Publishing takes forever.
It does. Yeah. And the book that I sent to my editor, and I was like, I can't do the Zoom and make it work for me. I don't want to Skype about this. So she actually met me in Chicago, and I rented a hotel room, and she sat in my hotel room with me for an entire weekend.
That's amazing.
This is before COVID. And
I miss those days.
Every chapter and everything. And then I went home and kind of rewrote. So have you gotten to that point where you are doing the writing?
I think everybody probably has a different process. I decided early. Well, I didn't decide. Let me tell you, this is a peek behind the curtain. I thought I had this. I was going to write a book. I didn't need any help. I was going to write the entire manuscript and send it over to my publisher, and all was going to be dandy. I was about right. And about a month and a half out, I was about 10 chapters short. And I realized I had a significant problem I was telling a lot of stories that wasn't bringing the point home. And so I was able to collaborate with an editor who was brilliant. Hey, Nikki. And she was able to come in beside my stories and kind of extract hey, I think the readers aren't going to hear what you're saying. Write a little bit more here. And so I've already done some of the editing. And now I send it off to the publisher, and they're going to do their thing. So I imagine I've got another pass or two before this thing is complete.
Not much, though.
I know, but I wrote it.
Yeah.
I just carry it everywhere with me, because can we just talk about how thick this is?
I know, but then you're going to get it, and it's going to be like this big.
I know.
This was mine, and it started looking like that. And then I was like, I got it the first time, and I was like, wait, this is so skinny. I could fit this down my skinny jeans, right?
I know. You're like, how did this take so long?
I know, right? Why did I cry so much?
I know, exactly.
I don't know. Okay, what do you want to share with people about kindness, about life, about anything? You do what you do because you love people, right? Or you do it to cope. One of the two, probably depends on any given day. But what do you want people to know from your heart?
So I'm obviously as a person of faith, but I clarify that I'm writing as a Christian. That's the lens through which I see everything. It doesn't mean that I don't want everybody I think I have a very inclusive table. I want everybody to show up and party with me. But for me, I feel like rather than be a preaching, Bible thumping kind of out there person. What I've decided is that I have about a 2-minute encounter with each of my readers. I have this much time to be Jesus to people. And so I want my encounter to leave the impact that would leave somebody thinking like, oh, that's what it feels like to be loved well by a Christian. And I feel like there's not enough of that right now. Like, I feel like a lot of people leave the church with a lot of hurt or step away from kind of faith feeling like the experience left more injury than encouragement. And so I'm just trying to kind of flip that narrative. And I'm not perfect, but if I can be honest about where I am and my imperfections, then at least I'm relatably messy. And then people can understand where I am and see that, hey, I'm going to love you through this. And that's kind of the whole deal. Like, we're just going to love each other through it.
I love it. I love it. And isn't that really like the definition of kindness? Like, let's love each other through it, regardless of where you have been, where you are, where you're going. Like, we are in it.
Right. I always say you have to give people grace for, like, there's got to be wiggle room. Allow people room for growth. If they're not where you want them to be right now, then help them get there. Don't, be nasty because they're not rising to your expectation. And the funny thing is, like, we're all growing. Like, I keep every perspective and thought and belief that I have had in the last 2 years. It's a little different than it was 5 years ago. Right. And so we have to meet people where they are and respect them where they are and give them room for growth, a little wiggle room,
Christine liked that. So
good. Thank you, Christine. Glad you liked that. That one was free too.
Yeah, it's another $100 we got.
Another $100 I probably paid to learn that one.
That's good. So you have a website called Holy Hot Mess, but where do you want to engage with people? Where should people go after this?
Facebook page. I pretty much spend most of my time on my Facebook page. It's where I pop in and do live videos. It's where I hide under the covers from my kids at night and write little posts and fire them off in the evening. So yeah, if you want a chance to engage with me, I would go there and then perhaps sign up for my email list. I never get sad when people sign up for my email list.
No, but you know what? Here's the thing. Like, I get a notification of who signs up and who unsigns up on my phone.
Me too.
And like today, it was like 2 people signed up, 8 people unsubscribed. I'm like,
you're right.
What?
I know.
I didn't even post anything.
Ever since I created my own email list, I'm so sensitive about unsubscribing. I've got like Old Navy blowing me up, and I'm like, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Oh, it's so true. There are people that
it is.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see.
Oh, I love that.
Damien, we all have to wait to turn into a beautiful butterfly. Sometimes it takes a little longer than others. I am waiting to become the butterfly.
Jane, can I tell you a little something about chrysalis, which is hilarious? Speaking of hot mess, I don't know if you know this, but while a caterpillar is turning into a butterfly, it actually becomes a really gooey, disgusting blob. I feel like that's important to understand. If you're trying to get there, just expect the blob to happen first.
And I see it sometimes when I get out of the shower and look at the in the mirror, and then I'm like, no, we will not say mean things about ourselves.
There you go.
Hey, Sarah says your Facebook page is lit.
I feel like that is young, hip way of saying that it's cool. I hope.
I don't know, but you lit.
Thank you.
Woo!
I'll accept it.
So wonderful. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, my gosh, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me, and thanks for letting me chat about my little book. And gosh, I'll be sharing your next podcast. This is awesome.
This is Mom Babble. Go get it. And then in a year, go get the new one, Holy Hot Mess. But in the meantime, you can hang out with Mary Katherine Backstrom on her Facebook page. Thank you, Mary Katherine.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. You know that I love it and I appreciate it. And I just loved being here with you all. Oh, we got one more comment I want to share, though. Karen says, like the potter and the clay is just a lump until the Lord shares it. That's a beautiful way to end. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a really, really fantastic day.